Hi, welcome to this demo of IBM Spectrum Protect Plus version 10.1.6 and its ability to protect Kubernetes environments, either at the PVC, namespace, or based upon labels. In this demo, I'm going to be showing you how to install the Spectrum Protect Plus components into the Kubernetes environment. This will include installing pieces here in the red outlined area in Kubernetes, which would be like the data mover, which will do things like taking the Kubernetes local snapshots and copying them over to Spectrum Protect Plus. It'll also install things like the example YAML files that will be there to assist the Kubernetes administrators in setting up the Spectrum Protect Plus capabilities. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. As a Linux administrator who has access to Kubernetes clusters, Helm, and kube control, you'll first want to download the zip files, which come from the IBM entitled registry, and then you'll want to extract those using tar-xvf. Next, you're going to change directory to the installer directory. Here you'll see the bas_config.cfg. You'll want to edit that. And the first thing you need to update is going to be the bas_admin. And this needs to be the login to the Spectrum Protect Plus server. You can choose to either enter the password that goes with this or be prompted for it. So we'll go ahead and be prompted for that. Next, you'll want to accept the license. So make sure it says license equals accepted. Now you'll enter the Spectrum Protect Plus IP address and the Spectrum Protect Plus port, which is by default 443. You'll want to enter the cluster IP address, and then you'll give the cluster a name. And this is how it's going to appear inside of Spectrum Protect Plus. So we're calling this Sirius 09. Now you'll need to choose a namespace, and this is where we're going to do the installation. Now we currently only support the backup of Kubernetes. We currently don't support OpenShift or the IBM Cloud, so you can leave that as it is. And we currently only support English, so leave that language as it is also. We are going to be utilizing the local registry, so we'll go ahead and update the product_registry. If you were going to use a remote registry, then you would need to update the additional entries below. And then we'll go ahead and save this file. Now we'll run the install script by issuing the bas_install.sh-I command. You will be prompted for the Spectrum Protect Plus account password. Okay, and then you'll see the different verbiage on the installation progress. Okay, the install is done. And if you run the kubectl git pods -in bas, you'll see the different pods that were installed for this Spectrum Protect Plus installation. As part of this install, the cluster was defined inside of Spectrum Protect Plus. So if we go to Spectrum Protect Plus, Manage Protection, Containers, Kubernetes, there you'll see the Sirius 09 cluster that we just defined. If you click on the Manage Cluster button, this will take you to where you can see the host addresses, and you'll notice that our host address is there. Next, I'm going to show you how to delete a host and then how to re-add back in a host. So first, we'll select this particular host here. We'll go ahead and click the X. We'll enter the code to confirm that we're going to unregister it, and then we'll click Unregister. Okay, so we've successfully unregistered that host. Click on Add Cluster. The first thing you're going to be asked for is the cluster name, and we're going to call it Sirius 19. Then we're going to add in the host address. In this case, it was 9117.70.74. You can always go back and check your bas config file if you're unsure of that IP address, because the IP address and the cluster name will be in that config file. For the port number, if you go into the Spectrum Protect Plus documentation, It's going to give you a command that will allow you to access this port number. This is the port number for the connection to the Kubernetes backup support agent container. We'll paste it into the Kubernetes and you will see our port number. So we'll go ahead and copy that port number and enter it back into Spectrum Protect Plus. Next, you're going to need the user ID, which was a randomly generated user ID for the data mover. So once again, we'll get the command from the Knowledge Center document, copy it over, and then enter that into Kubernetes. And you'll see that randomly generated data mover user ID. So we'll copy that and put it into the Spectrum Protect Plus user interface. And then one more thing we'll look for is the password. We'll get the command from the Knowledge Center documentation, paste it into Kubernetes, and then copy that randomly generated data mover password into Spectrum Protect Plus. The next option is the maximum concurrent PVCs. We'll just go ahead and do the default of 10. We'll go ahead and click Save. We'll get the message that the provider was successfully registered. Go ahead and click OK. And if you hit the refresh button on this managed cluster screen, you'll now see that host IP address has been added back in. We're going to go ahead and click Actions and then Inventory to run a manual inventory on that. And if you go out to the jobs, you will see that inventory is running. Okay, that inventory did complete. And so if we go back into look at the Kubernetes, now you'll also see the clusters that are associated with that particular host address that we just added back in. Okay, so that was the manual way of adding in a host should one have been accidentally deleted from Spectrum Protect Plus. If you're curious, you can run the command bas_install.sh-s and then redirect that to a file like status.txt. And then when you take a look at that file, you'll see exactly the components that were installed when we ran that install script. Okay, so in summary, I just showed you how to install the Spectrum Protect Plus components into Kubernetes and how that will automatically register the cluster inside of Spectrum Protect Plus. Check out the next video and I'll show you how to do the rest of the steps like defining an SLA and actually kicking off the backups and restores. Thank you.